Pensacola is loaded with famous athletes, and when it comes to seeing a chiropractor for their sports injuries, there is one team they trust, Doctors Edwin Roberts. A family tradition for 3 generations, Doctors Edwin Roberts Chiropractic, next to Legendary Fitness on Mobile Highway, has helped champion athletes like Emmett Smith and Trent Richardson. Doctors Roberts specialize in relieving auto accident pain to physicals for the student athlete. The best treatment for sports injuries is prevention. Call 912-4155 for a free consultation and change your life forever.
Do you put 100% into everything you do? Of course you do. Well, good news for you. So does the team at Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. And this summer, they're not only giving you 100%, they're giving you 118%. The team at Harley-Davidson's going to give you 118% Kelly Blue Book value on your trade towards a new Harley. Let the Harley-Davidson of Pensacola team go above and beyond for you. Bring your trade-in to the dealership today on Highway 29 in Pensacola. Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Let's ride.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it, so can you.
For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 945. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
I'm Jordan Glass with your sports update on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Taking a look at the Major League Baseball scoreboard, the Athletics beat the Rays 6-2. The Reds beat the Indians 7-2. The Cubs take care of the Rockies 10-1. The Red Sox beat the Rangers 4-3. And the Diamondbacks blanked the Phillies 2-0. For the NHL Stanley Cups, well, it is in the books. And congratulations to the St. Louis Blues as they win their first NHL Lord Stanley Cup with an impressive 4-1 victory on the road in Boston. For your NBA Finals, Game 6 of the 7-game series will be coming up later on tonight at 8 o'clock on ABC. A Toronto win ends the series and gives them the NBA crown. If the Warriors win, well, that will force a deciding Game 7. For your Pensacola Blue Wahoos, they were back at home at the friendly confines of Blue Wahoo Stadium on Wednesday night, and they get a close victory over the Tennessee Smokies, winning 7-6. The next game coming up later on this afternoon, 6:35. Chris Garagiola will have the call right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. I'm Jordan Glass with your sports update.
Those up the middle. At the 40. Derek Brooks 30. Brooks to the 29. 20. Derek Brooks all the way. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Derek Brooks. The dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Meta Watson is wearing a green jacket, and this time his name is Bubba.
Pitch on the way. Russell drives one in the air. Deep left center. That back near the wall. It's got a chance. Grand slam. Grand slam, Addison Russell. The new WNBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
And Richardson breaks free on the sideline. End zone. How about that? Bama scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And these them Louisiana, Pensacola guys, they looking crazy and all that.
Morris, blocked by the tight end Paul. That opens up the door. Breaking the Kendricks tackle. To the pylon. Touchdown.
Really nice effort there by Alfred Morris, extending that ball over the goal line.
Near side ball is that big game. Doug Baldwin's got a first down. Doug Baldwin, 93 yards, now has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Reggie Evans, and he's going to get an ovation. Guy from Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and on Blab TV. I am Chad Berliante. Glad to be with you here as we broadcast on this Thursday evening, having some fun. Oh, no, we are not drinking margaritas. We're not that cool to have a machine. I actually, when we were building the studio, that was on the list. And it got speak for yourself there. I'm a little more think than drunk you are, right? It's but when it comes down to the studio, I did put that Jimmy Buffett margarita mix, one of those machines, that got dismissed over things like production lights and other things. So, you know what? It's okay. Cheers to that. This is actually an energy drink.
I wanted a keg on the shelf behind me, and they nixed that one too. So
many teams won a championship too, but you can't be a Patriot, right?
Yeah,
but hey, for 24 hours, Boston people can't talk any crap right now after the St. Louis Blues getting it done. Good for them. You know what? The coach had some cojones because he truly valued the product. And also the guy, by the way, remember when we had that whole show on should you hedge, should you do? By the way, I watched Howie Mandel, Deal or No Deal. I've never been so intrigued by a game that has really nothing to it but a bunch of hot women opening briefcases. But that is the whole point of the thing. Yeah, and people just being like, and none of the family members. What I've realized with the show, if you've ever seen Deal or No Deal, what I realize is that family members, if it's not their cash, are just pretty much like they're on their fifth cocktail at Vegas, sitting there at the craps table. Every single time they're like, the lady has offered you a lot. Now, there are 3 numbers that will give you only $5, and then you do have $400,000. This lady is offering you $200,000. And then it's like, Grandma, what do you think? Ride it, baby, no deal, no deal. And I'm like, take the deal. Like, you're probably going to walk with $5. They always give the worst advice. And then when they lose, it's just bear hugs. It's like, come over here, you little noogie, like, sitting there like your young kids around the park. And you're like, no, because they go home and do the same thing. You just have to live with it. But the Deal or No Deal show, I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and I realize that, you know what, everybody lets it ride, has some fun with it, enjoys it. But life, it doesn't always work out that way when it comes to sports. And some of the things with some of the moves that these guys are making. The U.S. Open today, we're watching right from Pebble Beach. And a couple of the guys can just punch it back in the fairway out of that thick rough. The difference between the Pebble Beach Pro-Am with Bill Murray and some of the cast and crews at Tony Romo is that rough is not grown out. Somebody said, I can't believe I'm actually giving this guy the time of day. Like, Five Bomb gives a few of these callers, like, I know how to get a raccoon out of your apartment. But there was a guy that said, no joke, yesterday I was watching the Golf Channel, and he said the words, the differences between golf in the Pro-Am and in the tournament a few months earlier and the U.S. Open is that they grow out the rough, and also the wind conditions seem to be a little more detrimental to their game during the time when you play in a major. And I just was like, unless I didn't know the USGA had direct line, it was one of their Fab Fives on their cell phone commercial, right, to Mother Nature and God. Because that is the most ridiculous, asinine thing. It's like when the guy asks, Mr. Muschamp, Will Muschamp, what do you think of the conditions when Louisville plays against Florida? When they play at the Sugar Bowl, it's expecting rain. Will that slow down the conditions of Teddy Bridgewater in this game? And he's like, okay, well, Teddy can run. And it is expected to rain this week. It's actually ruined some of my plans on Bourbon Street. But here's the deal. We're in a dome, you moron. Like that, unless the AC leak was going on, they should be okay. Sometimes, the old think before you speak, think before you tweet is sort of the new age on that. This one, that guy probably should never be allowed back with a mic when the wind conditions are a little more detrimental to the game when it comes into a major play. Now, what he meant by that was the wind might vary a little bit. If you go into the rough, then it's harder to play. But right, that's not what we can't assume that that's what he meant. I'm trying to help this guy out here, but we can't assume that much. Overall, though, today, Ricky Fowler, Xander Schauffele, and Louis Oosthuizen at the front, making it so easy when you got Louis Oosthuizen and Xander Schauffele at the beginning for everybody that's doing broadcast radio to just be able to pronounce their names throughout the day. Yeah. No, like John
Smith
Jones or you know Mike Phillips. None of this crap. It's a Ricky Fowler though. Everybody's been waiting for that first championship, and he's got a TPC under the belt, but he pretty much is now with Phil and Lee Westwood and all these guys moving on. He is the best golfer not to win a major right now.
Yeah, he's right there in that category, like you said. Now I think he's pushing for it this year. I think he wants to kind of step out of that category and actually win a major. I mean, of course he wants to win a major, but I think he wants to get it done in 2019.
Looking at the best Game 7s, well, the St. Louis Blues get it done, and one guy, we talked about hedging your bet right there.
Yeah.
He's living the good life. That one fan, now his name was Scott, and he's just your typical guy that was out at a Las Vegas convention trying to get an extra bang for the buck. That didn't sound right, living in Vegas. But what he did was Scott went out there and he bet $100 on the St. Louis Cardinals and $400 on the St. Louis Blues. Now, when he bet it, the St. Louis Blues had the worst record in the NHL, dead last. It'd be like right now going and taking your money on the Miami Marlins in baseball. Everybody would laugh, and I would still laugh at you because that's a bad bet. But in hockey, St. Louis Blues had a good roster. Bennington, the rookie goalie, started to get it, feeling the flow. It was circular. And all of a sudden, he took his game to the next level, and the Blues did as well. When he made that bet, it was going out at 2,500 to 1 odds. And now, today, because of that, a $400 bet was worth $100,000. And we talked about people had offered him. Now, it also makes me start to wonder how rigged, and I'm not saying I do not believe the NHL was rigged at all and how they did it. But I want to start to wonder, I always start to wonder when I hear this, how these guys know so much. A guy pleaded to him forever, like, please, 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 give me this ticket for $40,000. And he could have just taken $40,000 and made his money, but he kept it just because he was a fan. He was going to ride the wave. But remember, the Bruins were the favorite. So this guy pleading for that ticket to give him $40,000, most people would assume, well, you're just getting a ticket, but you're not getting a coin flip on this.
Right, yeah.
Like, how do you know that much to be pleading for it? He didn't sell it, and the guy made the right deal. Howie Mandel, he shut the button on him, and he made $100,000. So he ended up winning on it, and the Bruins won in Game 6. It looked like they were going to take it back home and get the victory, but the Blues get it done last night. And the first championship in their history, 50 years. Pretty awesome to see that moment right there for a team that has a lot of loyal fan base, and Rob Strano and a lot of good guys that saw them win yesterday.
Yeah, and it was nice to see, all the Cardinal fans coming out and supporting the team there in the stadium that the Cardinals play in, and they had that packed out.
No Rams. No Rams.
Sorry, St. Louis sports fans. They're sitting there going, that's a low blow, guys. It's still a low blow.
I'm still bitter about this. Yeah, Big Moose and I saw each other earlier and just shook our heads. It's like no words, no need.
Yeah, I saw you guys this morning when you were already here. He walked in the door, and it was just like it was like a funeral at the front desk.
It's like 5 good minutes of watching. It was that commercial for that turkey in the Shantix thing. So, no, it was horrible.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a great overall series though, and I think the thing that surprised me the most about this series is you look at this. Each team played better on the road than they did in their own house.
Mm-hmm.
Boston was able to get their 2 of their 3 wins on the road in St. Louis. Boston got 3 of their 4 wins on the road in Boston, including Game 7. So when this game went to Game 7 and it was going back to Boston, I kind of had a feeling that St. Louis would win it just because of how this series has gone. It's completely opposite of what we've seen, and we've seen that in the NBA Finals as well. Toronto's really done it well. They've done a great job at home as well, but they've played really well in Oracle Arena.
Looking at some of the other things going on right now, the NFL refs called, it looks like the reviews in the final couple minutes will be strict criteria from the booth. I mean, this is what it is. It is when, now, the New Orleans Saints game, that is now sort of, when people say Roe versus Wade, and half the people in this country don't know what it means, but they know that is the platform, that is the original case that is brought up when people describe an issue like that. When it comes down to this, there's only one. It's going to be Saints versus crappy reffing.
Right.
That play right there, Bill Vinovic's crew, this will be the one that sets the precedent forever. Sometimes it's sad, like Scott Norwood's not the only one that blew a big kick, but we all remember Scott Norwood. It's like Bill Buckner. Many guys have made bad plays at first base. Bill Buckner, even though he passed this year, will always be remembered
a couple last night.
as that guy.
Yeah.
though you can always be known for that, good or bad, in sports. Big Shot Bob's not the only one to hit big three-point shots, but he's the name that comes up about three-point shots. It's the same thing here. Strict criteria means, in that case, people would have been throwing rotten tomatoes at the window of the booth saying, this better be called upstairs, and that would have. But this is good and bad. And what I mean by this is pass interference is, remember, at the end of the day, holding and pass interference could be called on every single passing play in football because there's contact made, some within 5 yards, some with guys that are bigger and stronger, but you have to use judgment. So this has to, I like these strict criteria because if it is just review in the final couple of minutes, if a team's gassed and you got Tom Brady or you got Aaron Rodgers discount double check in the field and he's going in for a touchdown drive and all of a sudden there was what looked like pass interference, all of a sudden the coach on the sideline is going to be like, we need to get this reviewed. You slow down that. You get them into the booth. Everybody's booing, but you get to slow down the momentum of the drive, and it can change the game. So to me, this better be detrimental, the ones that we clearly see like this. And there has been those calls, and this one clearly is one of them.
No, you're absolutely right, and I think this is going to be interesting to see how this plays over the long run with the NFL. I don't know. It could slow it down. It could speed it up. It could be good. Could be bad. It's one of those things we're going to have to see it in action before we really know what we're going to get from it.
I would love to go down the path of like what they do for soccer with yellow cards and red cards. It would be nice if there was a ref, and he wasn't part of the referee crew, and he wasn't part of the teams. His job solely was an NFL investigator, pretty much. So he wore just the big NFL jacket, the big logo, and he would walk out to the field, and when a ref just did something completely moronic and missed a call, because you see that every time when the guys go to the booth, the NFL, in Major League Baseball, when they go review a play, and it clearly takes 2 seconds to see it, and they send him, it's almost like timeout for a kid. They send him, and also they send the head, the crew chief, and the crew chief's just like, yep, this guy's a moron. He was out by 2 steps. And the other guy has to sit there and listen to, and then comes out and says safe afterwards. But they should send this guy to the field and give one of those refs, like he points at that ref like a soccer game and holds up a yellow card. And then everybody applauds like, all right, this idiot, he's got one more chance. And then the next time, red, and that means you're done. You're suspended for the next game or something. I think that would be a great rule. Let's hold these guys accountable because referees today with replay has given them the right to just screw up things, and then there is no repercussions. We all boo and be like, but when a ref messes up a call so blatant that it gets reviewed, there's no repercussions. And I'm not saying first try because people make mistakes, and it's not an easy job. Not an easy job at all. But let's start to hold them accountable where guys like Joe West should not be Major League Baseball umpires for 30 years because it's the most tight-knit union in the history of the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Angel Hernandez is the worst. That's what I'm saying. He is the worst. He's not fair. When I see a game called by Angel Hernandez and the Red Sox, you don't want to watch it because it's that bad, but he's been able to do it for 30 years. And everybody knows he's that bad, but people just continue to allow him to do his thing, and it needs to change. I hope accountability will be something for referees as well down the line. When we come back, we're going to talk a little, Bill Bender of the Sporting News, he lives up in Big Ten country. You've probably read his articles. Came out with the top 130 coaches, all 130 coaches right there in FBS football. And we're going to have that coming up here as Bill's going to break down some of the biggest names and some of the surprises you probably didn't know right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 Blab TV. It is the Sports Drive.
He was a star quarterback at Pensacola High, played alongside Gator great Steve Spurrier, and rose up the ranks to become head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Now, he's talking football on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Coach K brings football to life year-round. The teams, the players, and the front office. Talk football with Coach K every day at noon on your radio. And Coach K live on Facebook and YouTube at ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Pros do it right by relying on trusted brands because your reputation depends on it. Lowe's is here to help by having more of those brands in stock, like DeWalt. So when you need a DeWalt tool fast, you know where to go and where to save. Because we stock the largest in-store selection of DeWalt power tools and accessories of any national retailer. And now you can save $100 on a DeWalt XR 2-tool 20-volt max brushless power tool combo kit featuring a drill and impact driver for just $289. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offer valid through 6/16, U.S. only.
ESPN Pensacola 945 is accepting applications for employment. Periodically, we have openings in sales, business, news, promotions, engineering, production, and programming. We'll keep your application for consideration when such an opening occurs. We also provide internships to qualified students. Apply online at ESPNpensacola.com or at our studios at 7251 Plantation Road behind University Town Plaza on Davis Highway between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. ADX Communications is an equal opportunity employer.
Springtime is almost here. It's the perfect time to tackle the next job on your list. And AutoZone has the free services to help you do it. With the AutoZone Rewards program, members get more, like a $20 reward every time you spend $20 or more 5 times. And right now, get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic or Full Synthetic High Mileage Motor Oil and an FTP Extended Life Oil Filter for $17.99 after a $15 AutoZone gift card by mail. Let us help you at more than 5,600 locations nationwide. See terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions and details in store.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Our Pensacola Wahoos are back for another season, and with the new season comes some fresh and new changes. Our Wahoos are now the new AA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins, and they have a new broadcast home here in Pensacola, right here at your hometown station for hometown sports, ESPN Pensacola 945. Catch all the Wahoos action from home and away with Chris Garagiola. Wahoos baseball presented by Denny's on the new official flagship station for the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 945 and ESPNpensacola.com.
The year was 1919. Barbasol shaving cream was invented by a dreamer named Frank Shields. The world's first modern shave cream, Barbasol changed the face of shaving forever. A few billion shaves later, Frank's dream lives on. Behind every face is a dream. Barbasol proudly salutes every fearless, self-assured, wide-eyed dreamer all across America. Celebrating 100 years. Barbasol.
And welcome back. Sports Drive with you right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and on Blab TV. Thanks for joining us each and every Monday through Friday from 5 to 7 here and replayed midnight to 2 a.m. We're going to get to more on the NFL refs, talking about the strict criteria for changing that rule that still Saints fans down there are looking to voodoo witchcraft on Bill Vinovic and his crew. We're also going to get to more on the 6 schools that were notified on the NCAA violations in hoops. More on the U.S. Open with Ricky Fowler tied for the lead, looking for that first major, and keeping an eye on Bubba Watson as well. And the Blue Wahoos tonight at 6:35. But right now, it's time to talk some college football. He just had a great article on Sporting News ranking all 130 coaches in Division I FBS football right there. Our good friend Bill Bender from the Sporting News covering college sports and doing a great job as always. Kind enough to make time for us. Bill, how's it going in Big Ten country?
Hey, I'm doing well, Chad. Thanks for having me on. I know it's been a while since I've been on your show, and I appreciate you having me back.
No, looking forward to it for college football. First off, family life. How are all the kids doing? Anything fun? I got to watch 3- and 4-year-olds enjoy some ballet, which was a lot cooler than what I thought ballet was like. So,
yeah, my daughter had a recital this weekend too, and she knocked it out of the park. She the opposite of me, no stage fright whatsoever, and it was cool to see. I still get nervous for radio interviews sometimes, so it's fun. And my son, busy with all the sports, and obviously a kind of a football, basketball, baseball junkie like me, and obviously, he even looks at some of my articles and says, you shouldn't have wrote that. He's only 8 years old, so I'm in for it.
Well, see, look, don't ever get nervous on this. I know you go on Feinbaum's show that comes on before, but what I haven't told you is I actually do this show from my mom's basement, and nobody actually listens to it. So it's just you and I, Bill. So you just think about it. Nobody's ever told me that until yesterday. So we're just going to have some fun. And but when it comes down to the game, I want to ask this question because Daniel, one of our fans, was just tweeting, and I actually just checked our Facebook page, which is very rare. But he said, would you be opposed, because of how bad officiating is today in Major League Baseball with some of the umpires, would you be against an electronic strike zone?
I don't think I would completely. I do like I get the argument about the human element and those kind of things, but you mentioned the Saints at the top, and I'm I'll tell you a quick story. when that happened, I had people over at my house for Championship Sunday, and I watched the play. I said, "Bad call, that's a bad call," and just kind of went about my business. And then I didn't think it would explode into what it did. And I always tell people that complain about the officiating, they have a gripe because I don't think I could keep up with these athletes today. They're bigger, faster, stronger than they've ever been. And you're going to have more errors. But I know we have the technology to get it right. So I always ask the question, you watch the NBA Finals tonight, Chad, how do they do these reviews on 12-inch monitors when you've got to get some of these calls late in games right?
It's amazing, but that's the thing is if you have the capabilities of getting it right, I think that there should be somebody that is able to oversee something if it gets to that point. Now, I wasn't a big fan of opening up the door for all pass interference because then you could have a great drive with Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady going, and the coach knows that. And every pass play, there could be a pass interference and contact made. So you could see a guy just throw a flag out there just to slow the momentum down, just like, quote, those cramps happen when teams are playing against high-tempo teams in college football, and you know exactly what's going on. So I was a little against that at the beginning.
Well, that, and I think pass interference in general has become the most influential call in the NFL. It turns games, literally, how far the penalty is, how severe it is. I actually like how they apply pass interference in the college game. But because, you got to think of it this way. If it's a Hail Mary situation, they never call pass interference anyway. The one in the college game that has really altered everything, targeting. I think, there have been so many. When you have a subjective rule, you're going to have problems. And obviously in that Rams-Saints incident, they made the wrong call. But again, that's on the refs where, they just flat out made the wrong call at the worst time. And I don't think it was a league-wide conspiracy or anything like that. You and I have talked about that at length before involving the Patriots. It was a flat-out bad call.
Speaking with Bill Bender of the Sporting News, you can follow him at Bill Bender92. And look, Bill, when you looked at the top 130, you did what was the criteria that went into this? Because I read the article, and it's something intriguing. We love lists in sports. We love creating things, and college football is one that it always seems to argue because what Jimbo Fisher was 2 years ago at Florida State is not what he is today, and it wasn't what he was when he won a national championship with Jameis, so it's always changing. And that's why the biggest question I have to ask you, was this about now or the body of work these coaches have accomplished was the most important part when you built this list?
I think a little bit of everything, whether it's the actual list of, career accomplishments. And as I said, you said I was on Feinbaum earlier this afternoon. I was, and I told him, if Dabo wins it this year, I'm going to put him over Saban next year because he will have won 3 or 4, and that'd be the best coach right now. With Jimbo, like you said, it's not the guy that won 29 games in a row, but I don't think it's the guy that kind of bottomed out at Florida State either. Texas A&M are on the way up. I think they're one of the better, teams that are going to contend in the SEC West for something more. And maybe, I don't know if they're ready for the national championship stage yet, but I like where Jimbo has that thing going. And, Kirby's made some head-scratching calls at the end of some clutch situations, and, that's kind of the last thing he has left to prove.
Bill's top 5 was Lincoln Riley of Oklahoma, number 5, Kirby Smart, number 4, Jimbo Fisher, number 3, and Dabo, number 2, and Nick Saban, number 1. Thought that was a great list. I do have a bone to pick, but it might be personal, and, with Josh Heupel being below one Willie Taggart, but you know what? Hey, yeah, it is all a part of the opinion, and it's one thing. But going 12-0 at UCF in his first year in the regular season, I think beats the what looked like a Benny Hill show in Tallahassee. How can you explain that one on me, Bill? I do need to ask that though.
Yep, that's fair.
Not that you focus as much down here as we do, but
yeah, it's definitely fair. I mean, you got to weigh in group of 5 guys versus Power 5 guys and that kind of thing. I thought Willie Taggart did a nice job when he was in the group of 5 and at Oregon. But yeah, it was not good last year. And when you're at a program like that, you should be better. But yeah, I mean, that's a fair point, and Heupel's got a chance to move up. Two that really, out of that group of 5 that people were getting on me about were, Heupel and Fickle, Cincinnati's coach. I think Cincinnati's coming off 10-win year, and they got a chance to do a lot more. They play Ohio State this year. They'll get a chance to prove it there.
Well, people at UCF will find you and troll you and do things like celebrate things. So you already know that thing. We'll find you. It's just part of it.
I've been a defender of UCF.
Yes, you have.
Not like I've just been a moderate, and that's anytime you're a moderate in anything today, you get accused of being one or the other. No, I saw UCF's run for what it was. I think they did a fantastic job. And they're not done. That's the thing. I don't think that program's done. I've got them projected to go to the New Year's Day Six Bowl. I think what they did the last couple of seasons was good for the sport because it's good for the group of five to be noticed. And if you're not going to notice us, then we're going to keep saying we should be noticed, and there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, there's some questions around the quarterback this year and McKenzie Milton's health, and you just got to assume that he might not be able to go. But that program's impressive right now. I think they're kind of following the model that they're really auditioning for something more if there's ever another round of expansion.
Now, what was the edit button next to the thing for Frank Solich of Ohio at number 1? I didn't see that on there then.
No, they need to win the Big Ten or the MAC. If they won the Big Ten, I'd be super happy. No, they need to win the MAC championship, and that's the last thing they really need to do. Of those group of five coaches, Heupel, Tedford at Fresno State, Solich. He's not a group of five coach, but Monken at Army's really done a nice job. And Harsin at Boise State, that same group of guys. So, the one thing with the American Athletic Conference, too, similar to the MAC, the coaching power is up there right now. I mean, Fickle, like I said, Heupel, Charlie Strong dropped a lot, and people weren't real pleased about that. But I think, they just had an off year last year, and that bowl game showing didn't help them much.
You have not got any hate calls from Walt Bell at UMass at 1:30, have you?
No, I actually talked to a coach, and I'm not going to say who. I talked to a coach a few years ago. And he moved up the ladder, and he was like, well, I was 130 in Sporting News rankings once. And I didn't do those rankings, but because I wasn't in charge of doing that. But I laughed because I was like, they do read these. So, you know what? I hope Walt Bell goes on and leads UMass to a bunch of wins and maybe wins a big-time bowl game sometime. And if I see him and he tells me that, I'll do the same thing I did then.
Well, Bill, if you get some Little Debbie snack cakes in the mail, you know that you made the right choice at number 1.
No, he just keeps going. And
it's incredible,
I know most of us are questioning that program at least a little after the 44-16 loss to Clemson. But they tend to strike back and with no mercy, kind of like the Cobra Kai. They're going to be really good this year on offense. I think the assistant coach hires are going to work out. And, it's hard. The thing that's been hard about this, and I've known you for a while, it's really hard to project anything other than Clemson, Alabama, and I honestly can't remember the last time I did.
I agree. And it's gotten to that point over the last couple of years where it has become what we assume with Golden State and what we assume with the New England Patriots every year. We're not saying that one of the two is going to have to win, but we know that they're going to be in a driver's seat to win. And I've never been at the point. We know that Ohio State or Oklahoma's or Florida State's over the last couple of years have been in that mix, but it is like we're just shooing in college football teams, which is not supposed to happen in a sport where every single week is a gauntlet and you could lose at any time and lose that spot.
It really is. And these two have just, they're the best programs in the country. They have the most depth. They have the two best quarterbacks this year. They have the two best coaches. I think they have the two best mindsets. And I know that's a cliche, but, when they get in big games, they show up. Some other teams don't. I mean, Michigan struggled with that with Jim Harbaugh. Ohio State struggled with that in a few spots with Urban against not outside of the Big Ten. The Pac-12 struggled with that. Lincoln Riley's froze up a little bit in a couple big games. It's Alabama and Clemson are always ready to go, and you better bring your A game when you play.
Speaking with Bill Bender of Sporting News, covering college football across the country. Go check out his article ranking 1 through 130 top coaches in all of college football right there. Real quickly, Bill, a couple of the ones that stand out, especially with some of the guys out here in SEC country. You've got Gus Malzahn, 19, and you've got Dan Mullen, number 8. Talk a little bit about the explanations, because I think the mindset is Gus Malzahn immediately is to jump on him and talk about the hot seat, but he has actually been there and done a lot when it comes to competing against Alabama and getting to go to SEC championships. And it just, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde has been his career. And then Dan Mullen, who hasn't won a title, but everybody respects the heck out of him for getting more out of his players. Talk about 19 with Gus Malzahn and number 8, Dan Mullen.
Yeah, I mean, Mullen is doing more with more, and we've always wanted to see it since his days at Mississippi State. Now we're seeing it. I mean, they're winning big. They had a great first year. They're going to continue to build on that, and we'll see if they can catch Georgia. With Gus, it's just he's terminally impossible to rank. That program's hard to project from year to year. Yes, he has won an SEC championship. Yes, he has played for, he put Auburn in the national championship game. But, the consistency hasn't been there. That's why it makes him so hard to rank. I mean, if you told me you wanted him in the top 10, I'd probably say that's fine. And if you told me he's not top 25, I'd probably say that's fine. So I think that's why 19 kind of meets that in the middle.
Ed Ogeron, how do you even rank him?
Well, I mean, you know what? They put together a really good year last year on the spot when he was seen projected to be on the hot seat. There was a lot of takes about him and whether he'd even survive the season. And they won their game early against Miami. They won against Auburn. They kept going. They didn't look good against Alabama, but that's okay. That's next. He seems to have stabilized that program and stabilized the recruiting, and they've kind of rallied around him as a fan base, which is a surprising development. I think a lot of the animosity there was toward the athletic director. So the next step is the same one Michigan faces. It's the same one Texas faces, that they got to beat their biggest rival in the biggest spot and try to get that college football playoff appearance in the book.
Well, yes, and I live with purple and gold each and every day in my wife, and it is something where there's never going to be a coach with more passion than Ed Ogeron. He's one of them, and that's one thing is I've been to some of the some of the different crawfish boils going on down there, and what you realize in LSU is once you become family, you're family, and they'll respect you and give you a lot of opportunities. So Ed Ogeron is always going to be part of the family, and he's gotten more opportunities than I think many would, but he did have a great season, and he's always going to bring the energy. The biggest thing to him is as long as he can keep Dave Aranda as a coordinator, he needs to.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the talent on both sides. They recruit well. Like you said, he's one of their own. And I think, the hire of Brady to help with the passing game and see if that can unlock a little more out of Joe Burrow will be key for them. And if that happens, they could take that next step. So I think it's a big year for LSU. They play Texas out of the chute. That's going to be one of the best games I'm looking forward to in September. And, the winner of that game will be kind of in that position to maybe take that next step.
Bill, he had Ed at number 15, by the way, folks, right there, after 25-9 at LSU. Pretty solid record when you expect going up against the SEC West opponents. Bill, I know we got a lot of games right out of the chute. You got a lot of those neutral site games that can make or break a season. A lot of people down here excited for that 24th matchup between Miami and Florida. Is there any game that you're going to be covering here in about 75 days from now?
Oh, we're still working that out. I'm kind of working out the media day schedule now, and then we'll get into which games I maybe want to go to in week 1, week 2. But I'm certainly eyeballing that Florida-Miami game. It'd be a lot of fun to come down for that one. And it's going to be a fun season. I talked to a couple people this week, whether it's across radio shows, and they want some more, wackiness, some drama. And we haven't had that in recent seasons. And it'd be fitting if the 150th season of college football was full of it.
Well, I hope it does. It's always better with a little craziness. And down here in the South, we get a little of that when it comes to passion and camaraderie. Transfer portals, a lot of intrigue with faces like Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts of the world. So should be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to that. How is the news? You live up there in Big Ten country, though. I want to ask you, what is the feeling so far? And we're not going to know a ton until we get closer to the season. But is Justin Fields, what is the language of the folks up there in Ohio State country?
No, I mean, there was some reports that he struggled in the spring game. I was there. I thought it was a spring game. It's hard to say. The completion percentage wasn't great, but again, it was a spring game, and they weren't hitting the quarterback. I think he'll continue to grow comfortable as he learns the playbook. I think Ryan Day's offense is a quarterback-friendly offense, and he'll continue to grow in that. And he's at Ohio State. They're still the most talented team in the Big Ten, and as long as he performs in the big games. He's got big shoes to fill. Dwayne Haskins had a monster year, but then again, Dwayne Haskins had big shoes to fill considering all the records JT Barrett set. So they'll be watching him closely. I know Georgia fans will too, but I think he'll have a big year.
Bill, thanks for taking the time here today. Looking forward to doing this again throughout the season, and hope the family's doing well.
Hey, I appreciate it, Chad. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
All right, appreciate it. Bill Bender does a great job right there with the sporting news. Check out his articles as he'll be writing the biggest articles right there for sporting news throughout the season on college football, ranking all 130 coaches. And it's not easy. Anytime you make a list, it's nearly impossible. You start to cross out names. You start doing it again. I mean, you can argue so many things. Now, like I said, I had a bone to pick with them, and I clearly had written down that Josh Heupel was below Willie Taggart after. But you know what? To each is their own. Some like 12-0, some like 5-7. We're coming back for more right here on the Sports Drive.
Sizzling summer savings are here at Bob Tyler Toyota with special low Bob Tyler prices on new 2019 Highlander LE, just $249 a month. New 2019 Tacoma Double Cab SR5, just $229 a month. Or the new 2019 Tundra Double Cab SR5 4.6-liter V8, just $289 a month. Check out over 10 acres of pre-owned inventory, including Toyota-certified vehicles. Get to Bob Tyler Toyota while the savings are hot. The approved credit, 12,000-mile, 36-month leases, $49.99 cash or trade equity down, excludes tax tag, registration, title, zero security deposit. All prices include $899.50 dealer fee. Dealer for details expires 8/31/19.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5 is locally owned by the ADX Communications Group. That includes News Radio 92.3 and AM 1620, Cat Country 98.7 and 1330 WEBY 99.1 FM. This means that we have the staff, the experience, and the generators to get you through the storm before, during, and after. We care, and we're ready because we're local. ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Experienced truck drivers. Schneider has the driving careers you've been looking for. Schneider's dedicated driving jobs mean consistent miles and predictable home time. Choose from over 50 unique dedicated accounts. Career growth opportunities mean you can transfer to any type of position. There are 38 types of driving jobs at Schneider and training and office jobs. Plus, our consistent paychecks and comprehensive benefits equal peace of mind for both you and your family. Find out more at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Edward Jones, this is Shirley speaking. How may I help you? Oh, hey Neil, how are you? How was the trip?
With nearly 7 million investors,
Right here. Hold on one second.
you'd expect us to have a highly skilled call center.
Kevin, Neil Hawley's on line 1.
Okay, great.
And we do. It's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing.
Visit Frankie Pesci's brand new Edward Jones office on West Garden Street in downtown Pensacola.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, Craneworks. The Craneworks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give Craneworks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call Craneworks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
ESPN Pensacola has you covered from the national and local levels. From Golick and Wingo to the Sports Drive, the Paul Feinbaum Show to talk football with Coach K, we have it all. It's the latest and best in sports talk radio, making us Pensacola's hometown sports network. ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on HD Radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming online at our website at ESPNpensacola.com.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Thanks for joining us as always. Congratulations to St. Louis Blues. Don't really mean it as a Bruin fan, but overall it was a nice victory. It's nice to see a team finally get it. You know, just like Jordan, you know, sometimes we love to see those teams finally get that first ring, that first championship. If Ricky Fowler can win this U.S. Open, it'd be a great moment for all kids that want to look cool wearing the the brimmed hats with looked like they came from a skateboarding rink. And now Ricky's one of the cool dudes. I think his crust stash he's got going on sometimes. I don't know if it's like the slash painter look, hipster slash. I don't love that. If you're gonna go all out, go grizzly beard or go like me that can't really grow a beard and just looks homeless. But if you want to go with the I'm not a big fan of if you're gonna go with the Pierre look. You better be swirling some red wine and have one of those cool Kangol hats.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you go all out, if you're going to go with that look. But the half look, not a big fan of it.
No, and I think you got to be careful when you start growing a mustache because when it's just like a little whiskey, it kind of looks weird. And
well, if you just do it right over the brim right here.
That really looks bad.
Well, Michael Jordan got away with it in a Hanes commercial. It's the only guy, by the way, ever, and I'm just going to say this on air, Michael Jordan is the only person in American history. Some people are in the untouchable.
Chaplin got away with it too,
true. But he also dressed in blackface, didn't he?
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. This was a different. This was a different world.
Different time.
Yeah, this was a completely different time.
Yeah, valid point.
Michael Jordan though wore a Hitler stash on a Hanes commercial, and people on a plane. Remember, and Google that. You can, and it just everybody's like, oh, MJ. And he's talking to a little pair of underwear that's talking to him electronically, and you're like. Oh, nobody else is noticing this? He is wearing that. You try this at work tomorrow. You show up at work, and I'm not condoning this, by the way, because if you do, you'll be fired probably. But show up to your job. Let's say you're a drive-through teller at Wendy's, and show up with just if you have a mustache, and just go with the Hitler look, and see if anyone throws a drink back in your face. You get spicy nuggets dipped in ranch back in your face, or whatever it is. But nobody is going to allow you to show up. But Michael can do a worldwide 200 million people watching commercial because he is MJ. There's a few people in this country that have been deemed untouchable, and he's in that realm. Just throwing that out there. Fair? I mean, am I being
very fair? Yeah.
I'm not being tough on somebody. I'm not one of these I can't believe he's wearing a white shirt and it's a wedding and only the bride's supposed to wear. I don't get into all that. My wife is like, you're wearing that's a spring shirt. I'm like. It has whales on it. It's pretty cool. I don't judge. If you've seen my wardrobe, I equal opportunity from football jersey to Vineyard Vines to wearing a looking shirt like popping the collar, going out and partying with Jersey Shore to a tank top to a boat shirt. It doesn't matter. Whatever is clean is what's in my closet. This shirt's not, and I apologize for the smell. But when it comes down to everything with that, there are some things that are off limits, and wearing a Hitler stash in public should be that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would die on a national commercial. All right, let's move on from this. Taking a look at some of the other things going on. Check it out if you haven't. Looking right now, 6 schools have been notified about NCAA violations in hoops. Now, remember, Arizona, USC, Auburn, Oklahoma State, Louisville, Rick Pitino, who got his karma for cutting me off in traffic right there in Sandestin. That was right there by the donut hole. It's all part of it. But Sean Miller was one. Remember, he was able to keep his job at Arizona. And Sean was one of these kind of guys that DeAndre Ayton got paid $100,000, and it was the number 1 overall pick by the Phoenix Suns. And there was information the FBI had on that Sean Miller gave him that $100,000. Now, Sean was able to keep his job, and the FBI wasn't able to go too far into it. Arizona backed him on this. But if you've ever seen the video, it was him talking pretty much by reading a sheet of paper the entire interview. And we have a little bit of the interview, and we're going to play a little bit of it here, but it's not going to do as much justice. But think about this whole time. He is reading this off of a sheet of paper. Now, when you're speaking from the heart or you're trying to save your job or your family or someone has you at the stand for murder, you're not laughing like the glove don't fit. You'd be like, okay, this is great. Get me off the stand so I can go find the person that murdered one of my friends or wives. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have time for this. Be like, there is somebody on the street right now that is a murderer, and we need to find them, not me. And that would be my demeanor. You'd be angry. Instead, it was like, whew, glove didn't fit. Thank God that washing machine was. Sean Miller was trying to save his job, and he read the entire thing. I know not everybody's a public speaker, but when you have to speak from the heart, I'm a man, I'm 40, now he's about 52. Sometimes you've got to do that. And this is what Sean was doing to try to save his job. Listen to about a minute of this, and you tell me whether or not you feel this is passionate from the heart.
Good afternoon. Let me begin by saying I regret all the negative attention
Sorry,
that has
stumbled
been
over one
focused
word.
on our program and the difficult position that this is created for President Robbins, Dave Hickey, the Arizona family,
misspelled
and
his name,
especially our players and
mispronounced,
their families. I appreciate very much all the support I've received during this difficult time. Thank you to everybody.
He looked up to say,
While I
thank you,
have
buddy.
done nothing wrong, I am responsible for our men's basketball program, and I am sickened that we are in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. Contrary to what has been written this past week, we do our very best to run a clean program at the University of Arizona.
He read that off a piece of paper.
I have done that since the first day I stepped on this campus. Compliance with NCAA rules is extremely important to us, and we work hard to create, maintain, and monitor a culture of compliance within our program.
Said in parentheses, pause.
I
there.
have never knowingly violated NCAA rules while serving as head coach of this great program.
Knowingly? Why did you even have to? Yeah.
I have never paid a recruiter, prospect, or their family or representative to come to Arizona. I never have, and I never will. I have never
He read that part,
arranged
by
or
the way, off a
directed
sheet of paper. You
payment
saw
or
it.
any improper benefits to a recruit or prospect or their family or representative, and I never will.
Read off a piece of paper.
I also understand that there is an ongoing federal investigation.
That was a good thespian
And
pause
because
right
of
there.
this,
I
I
like that one.
cannot do anything that might compromise the integrity of this investigation. However, on this point, I cannot remain silent in light of media reports.
Must have been
that
a typo on there.
Impugned the reputation of me, the university, and sullied the name of a tremendous young man, DeAndre Ayton. Let me be very, very clear. I have never discussed with Christian Dawkins paying DeAndre Ayton to attend the University of Arizona.
Okay, and there's a little more.
In fact,
it's a
I
couple
never
minutes,
even
but
met or
we're coming up on the break. What I wanted to, this is all, and Jordan, you saw it. I wanted to make this clear and have another witness in here and go watch it because, like I said, listening to it, you can tell, but when it comes down to the voice doesn't change, doesn't modulate or anything like that. If I got on here and was like, I was very upset the Bruins lost to the Blues. Congratulations, Blues. Good job, Golden State. Like, that's not like people have energy and passion what they're talking about. And when it comes down to this, he read the entire thing off that you saw it. The entire thing was read from a piece of paper. Yeah. And he stumbled over a couple times. And here's a couple red flags. When you say, why would you do that? You look guilty by saying, I never paid a guy knowingly. You know, like saying, it's like, excuse me, who was that sleeping in your bed last night? I saw that person be like, look, I did not invite anybody knowingly into our. Now, I might have had a couple cocktails and blacked out last night, but I never invited anyone knowingly into our house, okay? Okay? And then, like, do you sound innocent there? Like, there's nothing, like, why do you even have to use the word knowingly? If you are innocent, if someone's like, Jordan, you did this, and you were like, I wasn't even there, bro. You're ridiculous. First off, the first thing is like, come on, dude. I have nothing to do with this. But then the next thing, if it's serious, these allegations might get you fired, you'd be like, come on. I didn't have anything to do with this. Who do we need to speak to know that this is his rogue situation? I had nothing. Clearly, that was a state of how I can keep my job. And the FBI is not going to waste their time. This wasn't done by TMZ and a midnight show where people are trying to take him down. There is no they don't spin the wheel of who are we going to ruin their career in life today. Sean Miller seemed like a decent human being. They didn't wake up in the morning and be like, fresh cup of mocha, and let's ruin Sean Miller's life. He's got kids and a family in Tucson. We're going to take him down. Let's go, boys. Come on. Let's do it for the game. Like, nobody did that. They did this because he actually did go out there and have a conversation with DeAndre Ayton's agent, Christian Dawkins, or the guy that was infiltrating it, who's been involved in a lot of it, and said, we'll pay you $100,000. And instead of coming out and being like defending, he read the entire thing off a piece of paper. So when they go down this road of 6 more schools being notified, it's going to be a situation where it's going to be tough because the first thing you do, just like with Joe Paterno or anybody, is we defend. We defend the people we love. We defend the teams we love. New England has never done anything wrong in the history of football. I know that. We're moving on from that situation. But when deflated footballs, whatever. That's just PSI. Every guy, nobody wants deflated balls, but we have 6 rings. Exactly. But when it comes down to, I'll defend it to the end. Let me grab a piece of paper. Bob Kraft, okay, page 2, has never been anywhere, page 3, that is disrespectful to any women. Page 4? No, okay. Well, when it comes down here, there are a lot of schools that are going to be on this list, and 6 more are going to be called out. Jordan, usually where there's smoke, there's fire. Hugh Freeze, these guys, look, and you can be upset about the situation, but most people, when they're caught or their name is involved, you go, well, shoot. You know what I'm saying? When Nevin Shapiro in Miami and the Hurricanes, there was no shocker when you had backups to backups to backups that were Hall of Famers at the next level. And now, you know, they're going to have to deal with it. 6 more teams will be under NCAA violations, and they're going to be coming out with those names here pretty soon.
Yeah, and I think the smoking gun here with this, real quick, because we do need to take a break, is the fact that there are more schools. It's not just an isolated incident with just Arizona and Sean Miller. There are more schools that are involved in this. And I think when there's multiple schools involved, that's usually a good sign. Something's actually happening.
The biggest part of that story about Arizona is when a coach goes down, an AD, and sometimes a president go down with them. And they collectively said, you know what? Let's all grab hands, sing Kumbaya, and hope this goes under the rug as long as it can and survive. And they all have, with their jobs, their money, and people have moved on from the situation. That is the big difference between this story and others. When we come back, we're going to get to more on what's going on in the Savannah Bananas. How about them? Well, nothing like driving a Segway to the mound. We'll talk about the most lazy moment in the history of sports when we return right here on the Sports Drive.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Springtime is almost here. It's the perfect time to tackle the next job on your list. And AutoZone has the free services to help you do it. With the AutoZone Rewards program, members get more, like a $20 reward every time you spend $20 or more 5 times. And right now, get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic or Full Synthetic High Mileage Motor Oil and an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for $17.99 after a $15 AutoZone gift card by mail. Let us help you at more than 5,600 locations nationwide. See terms at AutoZone.com/rewards. Restrictions and details in store.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Now there's more fun for everyone at IP. The beautiful Bayview Cafe is here, open 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can dine anytime and meet up with friends for wine tasting at 850 Wine and Spirits. Plus, if you love sports, IP Sportsbook is where the action is, and now taking wagers. Better up.
IP Casino Resort and Spa. It's fun for everyone.
Hey, this is Cole from Commander Air, and we're your local Daikin Comfort pros. Trust is hard to come by these days. At Commander Air, we have over 54 years of building and earning your trust. From each trained, certified technician to the state-of-the-art Daikin units we install, Daikin systems come with a trustworthy 12-year parts warranty. Commander Air has 3 generations of trust built on dependability, knowledge, and outstanding service. Come check out our new AC showroom at the intersection of Highway 29 and 9 Mile Road. Commander Air, your hometown heating and cooling specialist for 3 generations.
If you're a small business owner, there's no better place to find the impact hire to help your business than LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs takes the time to learn more about who you're looking for and then recommends qualified candidates from their community of engaged and career-minded people, candidates who you likely won't be able to reach anywhere else. The truth is, over 70% of the U.S. workforce is on LinkedIn, and posting your job on LinkedIn gives you the best chance of finding and starting a conversation with your next star recruit. It's no surprise a new hire is made every 8 seconds using LinkedIn. So build your winning team by posting a job on LinkedIn and visit linkedin.com/sports to get $50 off your first job post. That's linkedin.com/sports for $50 off your first job post. linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
And welcome back. Couple minutes here before we talk with legendary Auburn coach Pat Dye on the show, having some fun. He's getting ready to watch his Auburn Tigers this week as they're one of 8 teams in Omaha, right there at Rosenblatt Stadium, to have a chance to go out there and win the College World Series. It's been a good year for Auburn. You know, you think about it, usually for a team, it could get better in football, obviously, but at least they ended on a note that you took care of Purdue in a point where it was the biggest beatdown of all college football when it comes to the season against a Power 5 versus a Power 5 that there was. One that makes sense, meaning that, well, actually, probably was the biggest beatdown. It was, 56-7 at halftime or 56-0?
Something along those lines.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. They let Jared Stidham start throwing the ball. Remember, Chip Lindsey was already out heading to Tate. We got to talk to Chip. I was down there at the Tate alumni group doing a great job at McGuire's. Got to see folks like Bill Hamilton, athletic director of Pensacola State, Greg Wibbs, good friend and former kicker, and good to see all the great Troy alumni that were down there. Coach Shanda Rigby, who was the former Pensacola State women's basketball coach who won a national title out there with the Pirates, is now the Troy coach. Good to see her again. Called one of her games when they were in Hutchinson, Kansas, and Salina. And it is something where you look at the coaching staff of Auburn, and Gus Malzahn got to have the play calls. Now, Gus got to boast his chest a little when he did that because it was him getting to take over. And we know he was able to become who he is today. The Gus Bus was able to roll into a head coaching gig because of his innovative mind as a coordinator. Yeah. For a lot of people that didn't know before he was at Auburn with Cam Newton as a coordinator, which if you have Cam Newton, you probably just give him the ball and do anything and you're going to win some games. But he did the same thing when he was over at Tulsa. And he's been a good coordinator for a long time, even his days back from Hoover, Alabama. So Gus Malzahn and Arkansas as well. When we come back, we're going to talk a little with Pat Dye. We'll get to more on college football. Sporting News' Bill Bender ranking the top 130 coaches, and Blue Wahoos baseball tonight. It's all coming back right here on the Sports Drive.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 945. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
I'm Jordan Glass with your sports update on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Taking a look at the Major League Baseball scoreboard, the Athletics beat the Rays 6-2. The Reds beat the Indians 7-2. The Cubs take care of the Rockies 10-1. The Red Sox beat the Rangers 4-3. And the Diamondbacks blink the Phillies 2-0. For the NHL Stanley Cups, well, it is in the books. And congratulations to the St. Louis Blues as they win their first NHL Lord Stanley Cup with an impressive 4-1 victory on the road in Boston. For your NBA Finals, Game 6 of the 7-game series will be coming up later on tonight at 8 o'clock on ABC. A Toronto win ends the series and gives them the NBA crown. If the Warriors win, well, that will force a deciding Game 7. For your Pensacola Blue Wahoos, they were back at home at the friendly confines of Blue Wahoo Stadium on Wednesday night, and they get a close victory over the Tennessee Smokies, winning 7-6. The next game coming up later on this afternoon, 6:35. Chris Garagiola will have the call right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. I'm Jordan Glass with your sports update.
Looking again, those up the middle. And at the 40, Derek Brooks 30, Brooks to the 29, 20. Derek Brooks all the way. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Derek Brooks, the dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Mother Watson is wearing a green jacket, and this time his name is Bubba.
Pitch on the way. Russell drives one in the air. Deep left center. That's back near the wall. It's got a chance. Grand slam. Grand slam, Addison Russell. The new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr. And Richardson breaks free on the sideline. End zone. How about that? Alabama scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And these them Louisiana, Pensacola guys, they looking crazy and all that.
Morris, blocked by the tight end Paul. That opens up the door. Breaking the coverage tackle. To the pylon. Touchdown.
Really nice effort there by Alfred Morris, extending that ball over the goal line.
Near side ball is that big game. Doug Baldwin's got a first down. And Doug Baldwin, 93 yards, now has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Reggie Evans, and he's going to get an ovation. Guy from Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome back. Sports Drive with you right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Having some fun. Chad Brillante, Jordan Glass with you. Scott, thanks for jumping in here. Having some fun as always. As we're going to get to more on what is going on here in college football, as we will talk with a number of people today throughout the show. Bill Bender of Sporting News ranking the top 130 coaches, and get to more on some of the new rules in the NFL. But joining us, as he does each and every Thursday, we're privileged to have the Hall of Fame college football coach from Auburn, Pat Dye, joining us. Coach, we appreciate your time as always.
Well, it's great to be with you, and I got to tail into that ranking the coaches. Who's the top 10?
Top 10 is actually the top. I got the top 5 in front, but I know that the top 5 is Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, Kirby Smart at Georgia is 4, Jimbo Fisher is 3 at A&M, 2 is Dabo, and 1 is Saban. Gus Malzahn was 19, and Dan Mullen was number 8. I know those.
Okay.
Now, Willie Taggart was ahead of my coach at UCF. I did have a bone to pick there, but you know what? It's Josh Heupel, but to each is their own. Jim Harbaugh actually came in at number 10. You had Tom Herman at number 9.
You gotta be kidding me.
with Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't write this article. Come on, Coach. Hey, look, I'm just don't shoot the messenger on this one. I agree with you. I'm bitterly disappointed in that pick right there.
Well,
What do you think of Gus Malzahn? I mean, do you think he should be a top 25 coach out of 130? I mean,
I'll tell you what I think. I think that he, he's done a unbelievable job as offensive coordinator in 2010, and we won the national championship. And of course, he was offensive coordinator. Then I believe he left and went to Arkansas State after that year. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
And then we had a terrible season, and he was hired back the next year. And that would have been 12, wouldn't it?
Yes, that would have been 12, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I think, I can't remember exactly, but I think we had a so-so season, and then in 13, we go back to the national championship. And could have won it and probably should have won it. The kicking game beat us in the game out there. We let them break a punt. We had the game, we were up by 3 touchdowns or 17 points or something right before the half, and they faked a punt and took it down and scored instead of going in 20-0 or 24. We went in 17-14, and the second half we were at the end of the game. We were just like Florida State. Florida State could not stop us, but we were tired on defense too, and we couldn't stop them. And they had the ball last, and won the game, won the last play of the game. So, and then, things just kind of went. We didn't have a quarterback, and we just coaches changes and one thing or another. But I really think that the staff that he's got now, and him taking over and being in charge of the offense, that we're going to see a different coach and a different result. And we got the toughest schedule in the nation.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's going to be tough. We're going to find out a lot about Auburn like we did last year against Washington when they take on Oregon week 1.
Well, we've got if we lose to Oregon, we got a tremendous upside because we got two really, really outstanding prospects at quarterback. And I don't see us having a weakness anywhere on offense except the unknown factor with our quarterbacks. And I think we're better right now defensively than we were a year ago.
Coach, looking right now, as a head coach of a college football team is one thing, but you also had the opportunity and the privilege to be the athletic director. Talk a little, and I know you're just an Auburn Tiger fan when it comes to being a human being. Looking at the baseball team, what the basketball team already did, getting all the way there and having a chance to be in a driver's seat to win an NCAA championship, compared to also you had the football team that had an amazing run a couple years ago and has won championships and titles in their own rights. And then you have what you have in baseball this year. Just an incredible story for them to get all the way after being unranked in the regular season.
We were in the top 10 in the nation in women's and men's golf, and won the national championship in equestrian. Now, granted, everybody doesn't have an equestrian team, but the schools that had one, we were, of course, it was the 6th time we'd won it. And but it's great to be an Auburn Tiger right now. I can tell you that. And we got really outstanding coaches. The kind of people that you'd like for your son to play for, or your daughter to play for.
They got some incredible coaches.
And I think we'll come back. We had tough luck on a softball team because our best pitcher broke her hand and couldn't play all year long, and she'd have made a big difference in a women's softball team.
Right now, currently,
and we had a good year. We had the best year we've ever had, under Coach Flo in women's basketball. She won 22 games, I think.
It's been an incredible year, and Auburn across the board has been great. And when you get to Rosenblatt in Omaha, have you been out there, by the way, to the College World Series?
No, well, it's been. I think I went in '94 or '97, and I cannot remember which year it was. But I know I flew out there with the governor, and we went to the game and flew back when the game was over. We got beat. It's when Tim Hudson.
Now, you still were trying to get Frank Thomas. Wasn't the story you were trying to get him to play football, right?
No, I never tried to get Frank Thomas to play football.
Maybe that was my dreams of everybody thinking he should have played football. I don't know, man. That guy he's a beast.
Hey, look. How many millions of dollars did he make playing baseball?
Right.
And you do realize that he is the only former SEC player that is in the National the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
I did not know that.
All the players that's played baseball in the Southeastern Conference, Frank Thomas is the only one in the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So we got a little. Yeah. And Auburn is still a great school to go to. And that's the reason that, we got great coaches, like I said, and Auburn is an easy school to recruit to. Kids love going to school there. And the right kind of kids choose to come to Auburn.
Well, it is, and it's building and growing in the right way. The facilities, the things that they've added. Look, the little things that we don't think are huge things, kids today, and when I say kids, I'm 34 now and have a daughter, so I guess I can add that.
Yeah.
But watching themselves run back kicks and punts on the Jumbotron that cost the biggest Jumbotron in the one they just built, that's a big thing to kids today, is to get to watch themselves.
Well, not only that music and dancing and stuff they show during the game. Now, I don't care a thing in the world about it, but the children do. The kids do.
Would you ban the wave, Coach, if you had the right? The wave in the stands, do you care about that at all?
Do they? I don't even know. Do they still do it?
I think some state. Last time I was at a Florida State game, they still did it. They do it in usually games where clearly you need to get some, maybe at halftime, since everybody's been tailgating all day, and then everybody's starting to get tired, and they're trying to get the energy levels back up and things like that. But no, it's outside of that.
If you don't think Auburn is a tough place to come into and play basketball or baseball or football, you just ask a coach that have to come in here and play. That's all you got to do. Ask Coach Saban how tough it is to come to Auburn and play. Our fans are second to none as far as LSU's got a great tradition. Florida's got a great tradition. But our fans at Auburn in football and basketball, we probably got the best home court advantage in basketball in the United States. The arena won't hold but 9,000, and they pack it, and the fans are close to the floor, and it's just they've done it right.
Coach, do you feel right now that the NCAA, when it comes to college football, do they have too many regulations in the league? Are they too involved, or is that just part of it and you got to sort of suck it up when you're in college football?
The only thing that I've seen over the years is that some of the people making decisions, some of them never played football. Some of them, but they get appointed to these committees and positions and so forth, and they're part of the process. And some of the things that they have done don't make sense. Not all of them. And but I think and of course the presidents are in charge of it, and they should be. But they need some football knowledge and what it's like to go through an off season, what it's like to go through fall practice and spring practice and all the little things that really matter.
Well, it is, and that's what the tradition and passion of Auburn fans is something where they deserve. You know what I see from Auburn growing up in a SEC household, but not living in the South my whole life, is what I realize is you have two great competitors in the state, and sometimes that's tough. It's like, in a lot of sports, you might have Peyton Manning. If there was no Tom Brady, he'd have a lot more rings. That doesn't take away that we were watching two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. It just so happened that one could only get to a title. When it comes to Auburn, if Alabama didn't exist, and if Auburn didn't exist, one of them would be really, really good and have a lot more rings. But the difference is you can have two great competitors, and recently Alabama has held that throne when it comes to football, but it doesn't take away that Auburn's a great program and facility.
I think Coach Saban is a great football coach, but he's an even better recruiter. They go all over the country and recruit whoever they want. And the same thing has been true with Clemson. You just look at those two programs. I don't think Dabo Swinney is any better than a lot of other coaches out there. But when you got the best players, it's a lot easier to win.
Well, he's we got a Michigan fan that just texted me while we were talking. He's no Jim Harbaugh, Coach.
Well,
I'm just
here's the thing about Michigan. Michigan should be right there with Ohio State and Alabama and Clemson they've got that kind of strength in that school, in their program, because of Bo Schembechler and whoever came before him. But Bo Schembechler had a lot to do with it. And what I see in Jim Harbaugh, he's a wannabe. I want to be like Bo Schembechler, but he's a long way from being like Bo Schembechler was. But I think if they get the right person in Michigan,
well, yeah, I think
they'll probably be good, pretty good next year, but they'll lose somebody they're supposed to beat. And the great coaches, they beat everybody they're supposed to beat, and some of them they're not supposed to beat.
And he hasn't been able to do that yet. I mean, he hasn't been able to do that in the NFL either. I think he got to the championship with Crabtree.
Who did they lose to last year in the bowl game?
Last year in the bowl game, they got crushed by Florida. Jordan Glass, our co-host and host on the network, he was at the game covering it with Davis Allen, and they didn't look like they showed up. I mean, not to say Florida deserves the right; they look good. But
let me just say this: I would promise you that if you took the two rosters and went down and counted the stars that you got, that's where they evaluate your recruit now. How many stars somebody's got? I think it makes that much difference to me. I think you need to evaluate the player. But I guarantee you Michigan had more stars than Florida did.
They did, yeah. Game. They had more guys. They had a bunch of first. I think they had 2 or 3 guys go in the first round in the NFL draft.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you?
It
tells you that Mullen out-coached him.
Yeah. And I think one thing, too, Coach, is Jim Harbaugh, look, you guys as coaches, what I mean is coaches should be a fraternity. You should have respect for the guys. Now, rivalries are one thing, but I've heard from the grapevine, and we've been there and covered some of the events in the media, but from what I've heard from coaches is that Coach Harbaugh will walk right by them in a hallway or walk right by. He just isn't that nice of a guy to other coaches. All he cares about is one thing, and that, to me, that already is a red flag because he obviously has had success. But when it comes down to it, I would like the coach that all gets together with other coaches and they're able to be together and at least respect the heck out of each other.
Listen, we all got the same thing in common. We're all football coaches. If we're not playing each other, why not have a good time together?
Yeah, he didn't even shake Dan Mullen's hand after the game.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. But now look.
Who was that coach when you were there? Who was that coach when you coached?
In Michigan?
No. Who was Lloyd Carr was one of the nicest guys ever. Who was the coach when you coached that was the Jim Harbaugh of the 80s and 90s?
There's a few of them out there, but I won't call
That's
them
okay. That's all right, Ed. We don't need to. At least we know there was a few out there, Coach.
Yeah, there's a few out there.
You could just name their colors and their stadium. I'm just playing.
No. They kind of those like that. Let me tell you something. If Harbaugh wasn't at Michigan, he'd already be fired.
Yeah, because it's his alumni.
Yeah, he's the chosen child.
Well, he came in. What saved him also is Rich Rodriguez set such a low bar that it could only go up from there.
Well, it doesn't sit well with me. Him taking his football team to Italy, and they took him somewhere else one year.
He took him to an Outback Steakhouse in Bradenton, Florida, and was actually trying to poach players from the IMG Academy that were down already. They were already committed to LSU and Alabama, and he was saying, don't worry about that.
And look, but he took them somewhere else.
Yeah,
if you're recruiting the right kind of kids to Michigan, they're gonna go to Michigan to wear that. Is it maize and blue? And wear that striped helmet. Get some people that want to, and you can get some of those super players They've always gotten them. They'd love Michigan and take coaching and line up and go play anybody in the country. What about the baseball team? The baseball team shouldn't even be, they just like Auburn. Michigan is just like Auburn. They shouldn't be in Omaha either.
It was incredible,
They beat the number one team. They beat the number one team in the nation.
Yep, UCLA.
Because that baseball coach did a great job. Our baseball coach did a great job.
I just feel Michigan. There's something about people. The one thing we use today more than ever is social media and networking and all this. We forget to be people, meaning you look at somebody, you can read a situation, you could tell if a girl likes you, hopefully, things like that, passion and things like that. Jim Harbaugh has had success, but there's something about him that I just go, you know what? I don't like this guy. And he doesn't have to like me, and I don't care.
Let me just say this. Michigan has got great football tradition. It wouldn't take long to turn that program around. But you ain't going to turn it around just recruiting 5-star players. You're going to have to turn around the mindset of we're Michigan and we're not going to lose. And then go out there and prove it on the field.
Well, Coach, this has been a great conversation today. We appreciate it. How's everything up in Quail Hollow?
It's good. I've got a little cough that I'm nursing, and I have trouble talking, but I always enjoy being on with you.
Coach, I always look forward to this segment each and every week, and just got to going to go check out some videos of my 3-year-old daughter did ballet camp today, so I'm very excited. All right. Appreciate it, Coach Dye.
Yeah.
Coach Pat Dye, one of the best right there, and if you ever need a wedding and you're up in the reserves over by the plains, Quail Hollow is the place to be. They actually had a different, I believe I still have the website up there on there. I know we need to take a break, but I was checking out, they have a plant of the month, which is pretty cool. I need to check that out. I was going to ask them about that, but we're having better conversation than that. So when we come back, we will get to more on some of the football that is going on right now in, well, somewhere, because not here. We're coming back for more right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and Plav TV.
We know what you want. Good, healthy food that tastes great. Well, we're here to tell you it doesn't exist. Healthy food is for suckers, and if you say you like it, you're nothing but a chump. Be honest, this is what you want to eat. A gigantic burger from Steak Burger. It tastes amazing. What's in it? Who cares? How many calories? Shut up. It's awesome. So get over to Steak Burger now and get one in your belly, or you're a nerd. Feed your hunger the right way. Give it a Steak Burger, 440 East Chase Street, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
It's almost time for Sertoma's 4th of July celebration in downtown Pensacola. Watch Old Seville Square come alive this 4th of July with free activities starting at 11 a.m., including a children's area with inflatables, rock climbing wall, pony rides, face painting, live entertainment, food, and much more. Don't forget the amazing fireworks over Pensacola Bay at 9 with a perfectly synchronized music broadcast on Cat Country 98.7. Presented by the Law Office of J.J. Talbot. For more info, visit PensacolaFireworks.com.
Sizzling summer savings are here at Bob Tyler Toyota with special low Bob Tyler prices on new 2019 RAV4 LE for just $219 a month. New 2019 Camry LE just $179 a month. Or the new 2019 Corolla LE just $134 a month. Bob Tyler has over 10 acres and $4 million worth of pre-owned inventory, including Toyota certified vehicles. Get to Bob Tyler Toyota while the savings are hot. The approved credit, 12,000 mile, 36-month leases, $49.99 cash or trade equity down, excludes tax tag registration, title, 0 security deposit. All prices include $899.50 dealer fees. Dealer for details expires 8/31/19.
MWR welcomes Hunter Hayes to NAS Pensacola for the Air Force Reserve's Tour for the Troops, Friday, June 21st. Also appearing Brandon Ratcliffe and Jesse Ritter opening the show. Gates at 5:30. The show starts at 6:30 on the Portside Lawn at NAS Pensacola. Bring your lawn chairs and blankets. The show is free, but tickets are required. For ticket information, go to catcountry987.com. Presented by Kia Autosport, Pin Air Federal Credit Union, and MWR.
Around the clock, Redwire is working for you. As security experts, they're committed to 24/7 customer service and professional installation to secure your business and home. Redwire operates a nationally recognized monitoring center here in the Florida Panhandle, where their trained specialists use innovative technology to ensure fast response times whenever you need them. If you are looking for affordable security, look no further than your own backyard. Redwire, real expert security.
And welcome back, and, well, the countdown begins. Blue Wahoos baseball right around the corner here as the Pensacola Blue Wahoos will look to get the win against Tennessee, getting a victory last night as they're not officially out of the playoffs yet. And when I mean the playoffs, they're not officially out until the second half goes too. But for the first half, they were in a good lead. Bruzdal Gratterall got hurt, a guy that, if you haven't watched, he throws a $1.02 and then comes back with a wicked slider at 80 and had an ERA around 1. And the next thing you know was hurt. They've had a lot of guys get injured, but overall, this is a great team. And tonight, it is Thirsty Thursday, one of my favorites out there.
Yeah.
You know, getting these nods like obvious.
It's a visual medium. It's an audio medium.
Scott, obviously, Scott, you've worked with anybody's like clearly, yeah, Chad. It's the only day. They're always wondering why we don't see you, Chad, after 7 in a lot of the games. You're always here on Thursday, and I'm like, come on, guys, stop. It's Wednesday, isn't it? Oh, no wonder he's at Thursday. He doesn't even know what day it is. No, but it's going to be a lot of fun down there at the ballpark, and Derek Brooks is going to be down there. Our favorite player we sing about on a bus. So if you're going to be down there, Derek's been down there. Jordan, he's been down there. He was he still owe him. You know, don't get away. He reminded me of that. So just saying, you know, he said something. 97. Yeah, Reno. No, okay. No. All right,
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, Derek's one of the best guys, and when you talk about ownership, the core power, like I feel like this is a Captain Planet episode if you're watching TV, but like the core power of, or Diamond Dallas Page Stunner right there. When you have the names, Derek Brooks, Bubba Watson, and Quint Studer, there isn't a stronger core of ownership in the world. You know, I don't think of any team. That's pretty awesome right there.
Certainly not that level.
No. I mean, I mean, and the thing is, out of the three names, you know, the guy that has probably had the biggest impact, and look, Derek, we love you and we love Bubba too, but Quint Studer. I mean, Quint Studer out of the three has been, I've been here for 7 years, and over the 7 years, the growth of Pensacola is insanity. I mean, it is the quickest growing. We just won #1 small town in America. I think we beat Delray Beach out, I think, for it. But it's insane.
I just remember Quint's opening day at Wahoo Stadium for the very first time, and the thing about him that struck me the most was he was running around in a set of sweats.
Yeah,
because he'd been working all day. When he's the owner of the team, and he's bringing that level of commitment. I mean, he didn't want attention on him. He wanted the team to be the focus, and that was all there was to it.
Well, guys, appreciate it. Scott, huge contributions today. We appreciate Scott Miller, as always, as well. Jordan Glass, they both have worked with me. They both know my nonsense. We're going to send it out to the Blue Wahoos. Before we do, you're about to go to dinner. You're about to spend some time with family. Here is one fact that you get to share and become that person that knows this fact. 6 equestrian titles for the Auburn Tigers. Thank you for joining us here on the Sports Drive. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Enjoy some Blue Wahoos baseball. Take out the Tennessee Smokies right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Hi, I'm Layla Ali. I might be undefeated in professional boxing, but there's one problem I can't fight alone: childhood hunger. 17 million kids in America struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus